Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Criterion Collection Blu-ray review here at Chasing Labels. I'm Stephen Billings, and with me, as always, is Andrew Cabral. How you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. Glad to be here. Feels like we were just here talking about last month's stuff. Now we'll be talking about this month's stuff. For those of you who are watching in the future, it is April of 2026, and we've got one movie each to talk about. Well, I have several movies.
And one release to talk about with
Yeah,
three
one
movies in
release
it.
each, we should say. But we will, of course, mention the rest of the April slate from Criterion, which we have covered here on Chasing Labels in one of our episodes, one of our live streams. And a really good month for Criterion for
I
April.
remember when these were announced, and I was just like, "Dude, what a variety! There's such
A
a
nice
variety in this
mix.
month." Yeah,
Yeah, a nice
but
mix of some upgrades from previous releases in their collection in the past. For example, Gilda, which has
yeah,
gotten both a DVD release, a Blu-ray release, and now a 4K upgrade release. And that is the classic Rita Hayworth film starring Glenn Ford. That is one of my favorite noirs of all time, one of my favorite Rita Hayworth movies of all time. I think I've owned it twice already, and I'll probably be getting the 4K in the future as well. That's coming out April 7th. Well, actually, is already out. Came
it's
out
out. It's
this
out.
week. This week. Next, we've got Trouble in Paradise, which we will be talking about tonight. Stephen will be talking about it. That is the Ernst Lubitsch film. That is a pre-code Ernst Lubitsch film from, I think, 1931, 1932?
32.
And then we've got a movie that many people probably already know, and that is Life of Brian, the Monty Python film. This movie's been in the collection for a very long time.
Yeah,
This has been available via, I think, an out of print DVD for a long time, and it is getting an upgrade all the way up to 4K, Blu-ray and 4K, number 61 in the catalog,
wow.
which is a pretty low number.
And to go back for a second, Trouble in Paradise is an upgrade as well. It's from
Yes,
its number was 170, so another very
170.
early.
So we're talking like some deeper stuff that are getting reacquainted to the collection. Next is a Criterion Premieres release, I think. Yes, Criterion Premieres release. This is of the movie Resurrection
Mm,
by Bygone. This was a movie that came out and got a pretty small theatrical release last year, but everyone I've heard that has seen it raves about it. So I'm
yeah.
glad that it's getting a physical media release from someone somewhere. Um, so that's getting a Criterion Premieres release, and then we've got Point Blank, the John Borman film. This is a pretty awesome neo noir from
Borman's getting a lot of love right now.
yes. This is from 1967. This is a new entry in the collection, number uh, 1306. So we're going from 61 to 1306. And this is probably part of the distribution deal that Criterion currently has going on with Warner Brothers, because there was a previous Blu ray of this put out through uh, Warner Archive, I think, or at least
Okay.
Warner Brothers themselves. I can't
Yeah.
remember which one, but this is getting another kind of upgrade, if you will, going from Blu-ray to 4K. That is an underrated movie if people haven't seen it, starring Lee Marvin. And then we've got the revival of the Eclipse series, which has been
Yeah.
going on. And this is Eclipse series number 48. Kinuho Tanaka directs, and his collection of this director's work. I believe this is a Blu-ray now. Yeah. So in the older days, the Eclipse sets were just DVDs, and they were just
Yeah.
kind of bare bones DVDs. The movies really didn't receive any type of restoration work or anything like that. Now, the line has been revived. Coming out April 28th is uh, Eclipse series number 48. Kinuho Tanaka directs. And then last but certainly not least, which we will be talking about here, this is our big headliner, is the John Singleton's Hood Trilogy, which is getting both a 4K release as well as a Blu-ray release. And I have it here. So we'll be talking about that. But I believe that's it for April of 2026 from Criterion. And yeah, Stephen, your responsibility is Trouble in Paradise.
Yes.
Now,
Yes, it
how
is.
was it? I think
All
it's
right. Yeah.
first time watch for you.
So a little prelude. So yeah, my relationship with Ernst Lubitsch is unfortunately not, this is like one of them blind spots for me, and it's not for a lack of trying.
Hmm.
I own Lubitsch in my collection, and even recently, I tried to throw in Was it Living by Design?
Oh, yes.
I tried to
That's
put that in the player to watch it, and I got distracted. I couldn't even I didn't have like, I was trying to watch the movie, and then, like, some stuff happened, and I couldn't watch the movie that night. So, like, and then I have other I think I have, like, Angel is another one of his films. The only movie of his that I know for sure I've seen that I like a lot is Shop Around the Corner. Um,
mm,
so unfortunately, my knowledge of Lubitsch is not as great as I wish it was, but I'm going to try to resurrect that, because after watching this film, I know I need to be paying more attention to his work, because Trouble in Paradise here is fantastic, and it's a film that, not only is it like super fun and hip, I think, and it's even like something like that you could get into today. It's that, I mean, that's how good of a writer Lubitsch was. Was his dialogue was like that snappy, like quick-witted, like humor, and what I think some people make fun of the time, but it's also so smart, and not even just the dialogue, but just like the imagery, how he uses the camera, and what his choices are to tell the story in different ways. He don't just spoon feed you, like a lot of other films in this genre. Especially nowadays with comedies, romantic comedies, like it's not. I mean, I'm not saying this for every romantic comedy today, but like a lot of it's just like very spoon fed, very like straightforward, and not trying to make you think about what's going on. But in this film, you have, let me make sure I'm getting the right names. I'm sure Andrew could probably help me with this. But it's Herbert Marshall, who plays Gaston, who's or they call him the Baron in here. And, he's a thief. He's a con man. He runs into another thief and con person played by Miriam Hopkins, Lily, and then they strike up a romance, and then at the same time they decide that they're gonna play a con, steal something from this woman who is very well off, played by Kay Francis, and then there becomes a little bit of a love triangle of sorts, and it's just really, really, I don't know. It's an infectious movie. I think and there's a lot of great humor in it, and a lot of good characters. And as we said earlier, it's a pre-code film, so this is before they started really like coming hard down on the film industry about what could actually be in there. But the thing with Lubitsch was he was so smart with his writing, he would sneak everything in there anyway. Like he'd find a way, and that's what's so appealing about getting into his stuff, is that he just, what we're missing today about film, I think sometimes, is what he was such a master of, which is like not letting limitations stifle creativity. Like he found it actually kind of like creates more creativity, the limitations. And now that we're in an age where anything is about basically possible, things have become less interesting. So I think that Ernest Lubitsch's example, especially his pre-code stuff, is probably great examples of like smart creative writing and creative storytelling. So Andrew, anything you want to add?
Yeah, it's been a few years since I've seen the movie, so my memory's a little hazy on it, but I remember loving the movie and the people in it. Kay Francis, specifically for
Dude,
me, is a great actress.
she
She
was
was
so like I don't want to give away the whole movie, but
right,
like
right, right.
he's having a thing between two women, and like part of me really wants him to get with Kate, because she's so charming too. And she's like, if I'm being honest, like when I'm as a man being attracted to both of them, she was just like kind of more appealing to me. I was like, man, she's not just because she's rich, but because
Mhm.
it's like something about her was just so kind of like mysterious too. Like she was
Really, yeah.
yeah.
I remember yeah, she's been in a couple of really good One Way Passage is a really great movie that she is in. She's also in this movie called The Jewel Robbery, which I think desperately needs a Blu-ray release. I think it's her and William Powell, and
Mm.
it's a bit of a caper of a movie. Really great stuff. But Ernst Lubitsch, I think, is the real hype. The fact that we got, well, I think that this movie had already been in the collection, but the fact that we're getting it in a better quality,
Yeah.
is I think the best part about it.
And it looks great. Yeah, this is an upgrade to
It is a
4K.
4K release. It
Yeah,
is a
it's just a
4K release. I
4K.
don't think any of the other Ernst Lubitsch films within the Criterion Collection currently have a 4K release.
Yeah.
To Be or Not to Be doesn't. Let me check Design for Living. Ironically, Design for Living is one of the first like Criterion Blu-rays I ever bought.
Yeah.
It's definitely part of a Criterion starter pack, if you will. And yeah, Clooney Brown is another great film. If you're really interested in kind of like you were talking about the good Ernst Lubitsch dialogue, the snappy dialogue, very Howard Hawks-esque. It's almost a light, feathery acting. Like the acting is
Yeah.
so good. It's like they're dancing on
Yeah, it's
on
like
clouds.
ballet. It
It's
for
so
sure
great.
is like dancing. And
Yeah, go on.
no, I was gonna say it's they say it a lot in the features of this about like the Lubitsch touch, and that's part of what
Yes.
it is. It's that kind of like dance that he has between show and don't tell, but also sometimes tell. Like he there's just something about his and Billy Wilder will tell you he learned a lot of what made him great from Lubitsch.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
another influence that he definitely had.
yeah,
Yeah, and some non-Criterion movies that he did was like Ninotchka, which is a movie I've always really, really loved. Angel, which I know you made reference to, Bluebeard's Eighth Wife, which has a
yeah.
couple of Blu-ray releases actually by
I
this
have
point.
that's another one in my collection. I have the indicator of that. Yeah,
Yeah, and then Broken Lullaby
I just got
has
that. I just
ha
got it.
yeah, has an indicator and a Kino release as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, so there's a lot of Ernst Lubitsch. Ernst Lubitsch is one of those directors I think you have to, you kind of come to on your own. Like you that's the way did. It's just I kind of just watched it like, whoa, what is this movie? Oh, who's Ernst Lubitsch? Like, what is he all about? And
yeah,
I kind of stumbled upon him and stumbled into it. But that release that you have here, Trouble in Paradise,
yeah.
like I said, it is a new digital 4K restoration that's on it. So it looks good. It's in black and white. It's from like
It's
said
fantastic. Yeah,
1931.
looks great.
Um, and there's an intro in there by Peter Bogdanovich too,
Yep.
which is indelible. That's really awesome. And what else is on
There's
there?
not
There's a video.
There isn't a ton of features on this. You got
No, I
that
think they
intro.
mostly poured over what was on the old DVD.
Yes,
Other than,
yes.
of course, the movie getting an
Th-
upgrade.
There is a new video essay by critic David Cairns,
Yeah.
I think. So there is one new feature, so that's good. Usually in the past we haven't, like you said, gotten anything new. It's just a port over. So we do have that, and then there is an essay with critic Farron Smith
Neme.
name. Yeah.
I just
So
found out. This is a little bit of a running gag. I never knew how to pronounce Farron Smith Neme's last name until
okay,
recently when
now I know.
someone finally mentioned her in. Oh, you know what it was? Mentioned her in a Criterion Closet video. What a connection there! Someone mentioned her and like, oh, that's how you pronounce her last name. I've been mispronouncing it this whole time. But there's also an audio commentary featuring Scott Eyman, biographer of director Ernst Lubitsch. Scott Eyman is a guy who's written like a bunch of biographies for a bunch of old Hollywood people. Like I've
Yeah,
got his biography. I have his biography on John Wayne. I think he's done one on like Cary Grant. He's done one on a bunch of different people in old Hollywood. So he's a name probably old Hollywood people would know of.
yeah,
But yeah, that's a pretty solid release. That's definitely one I'm going to pick up because I've got the other Ernst Lubitsch in my collection. I want to get that the Eclipse set that they've just re-released, his musicals, which is getting a
yeah.
re-release Eclipse set as well. But yeah, if you want to transition over to
Let's do it,
this
man.
bad mamma jamma,
Let's do
this
it.
is a bit of a surprise release from Criterion. Surprise in the sense that I don't think anybody really predicted or saw this coming. This is the John Singleton's Hood trilogy. This is the 4K release. Like I said, it's coming in on Blu-ray as well. So whichever way you can watch it, I would say get it. This one particularly is a 4-disc set. It's got each movie gets its own 4K disc, and the 4th disc is all special features for each movie, as well as 2 new special features too. So this contains Boys in the Hood, Poetic Justice, and Baby Boy. It doesn't contain all of John Singleton's movies, you're missing a couple in here, especially ones in between Poetic
Yeah, yeah.
Justice and Baby Boy. You're missing Higher Learning as well as the movie Rosewood. Now, Higher Learning does have a Blu-ray release. Rosewood does not. That's his movie from '97. It does not. And then after this, he did, oh goodness, Too Fast, Too Furious, one
Mm.
of Steven's favorites, clearly. And then, and his last movie, Abduction, with with what's his name from Twilight? Uh,
Which one? Robert Pattinson?
no, the other one, the Jacob from
Oh,
Twilight.
oh, God, he directed that.
Yes,
Taylor Lautner.
Taylor Lautner.
Oh
Was it
God,
2011? Abduction was his last movie
wow.
he directed. After that, he did a lot of producing and writing for TV and other stuff like that. Up until his his passing in, oh, was it 2020, 2019? I believe was around when he passed. He passed tragically. I believe he had a stroke and then he died from complications of that. Um, but a monumental, influential director. Boys in the Hood, to me, is one of the most seminal classics of our time. I mean, it's probably one of the best movies in the last 35, oh, no, yeah, 35 years. It's actually 35th anniversary this year because
There
it
you go.
came out in 1991. So this came out just in time for that. They probably timed it. That's my
I'm sure
guess.
there was some
Then
of
his
the.
follow up to that was Poetic Justice in 1993, and then Baby Boy was from 2001. Now, Boys in the Hood is a movie, like I said, seminal classic. It's probably the movie many people listening, watching, have seen or at least know of. It's his first film he ever directed. Like I said, it's up there in terms of modern classics. It really is.
For sure.
Starring Ice Cube, Cuba Gooding Jr. Who played? Oh, why am I
Sam
forgetting
Jackson.
it?
Sam Jackson plays his.
No, it's not Sam Jackson. It's Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence
Oh yeah,
Fishburne
you're
plays
right.
the
Yeah, I'm
father.
thinking of the wrong movie.
Lawrence
No,
Fishburne is in there, and you get um yeah, it's really great stuff. I'm trying to remember who the actress is in there. Why am I forgetting her name? I can't remember her name to save my life. I'm completely blanking
Angela
on it.
Bassett. Angela Bassett.
No,
Maya.
is
Maya McGee.
Regina King.
Regina
Regina
King.
King is in both Boys in the Hood in a smaller role, and she's also in Poetic Justice in a much bigger role. In Poetic Justice, you have Tupac Shakur, Regina King, and um, what's her name? Why am I'm completely blanking on things today. Um, Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson, of
Mhm.
course, Tupac Shakur, Janet Jackson were monumental musical acts of the 1990s.
Yeah.
Pretty big. And they made their transition from being musical artists to actors during that time. Tupac was, of course, in the movie Juice, a couple of other films as well before he passed away, or everybody knows how he died. Ice Cube was another one, going from NWA to being in Boys in the Hood, and then doing the acting he does now as well.
Wait, he was also wasn't he a writer on this? Or am I thinking the wrong movie?
I don't think Ice Cube was.
I thought. What did he help write?
I
'Cause
don't know.
I thought he was a writer on this.
I'm looking at the. I'm just reading
No,
the
no,
credits on
you're
the
right.
back.
You're right. I'm thinking of something else. He did.
Right.
I thought he helped write. Maybe I'm just thinking of Friday. Maybe.
You know what? That could be possible
Yeah.
because Friday did come out after this. That was another
Yeah.
one that also starring Ice Cube, and of course he did. There were sequels to that as well. But back to Boys in the Hood, the unique thing about Boys in the Hood, specifically for the time it came out in 1991, it is a very much a time capsule piece, but it's also rather contemporary in terms of what's dealing with urban life in South Central Los Angeles at that time. The violence, the culture, the youth culture of the time, and what they were dealing with, what they were going through when it comes to all kinds of things like drugs and family problems and poverty issues and all kinds of stuff. It is such a unique look at that type of life at that moment, but it's also something that is probably true to real life now too. So it's a timeless film. And that's the one thing I found interesting throughout going through these movies is they're all rather timeless in terms of what they are discussing. But Boys in the Hood, pretty sure many of you know it, centers around the character of Cuba Gooding Jr. um I forgot what his name is, but either way, it's him when he's a child growing up South Central Los Angeles with his friends. Ice Cube's name is Doughboy. He lives like across the
Yeah.
street from him. His father is like this Vietnam vet who is trying to impart his wisdom about life down to his children, his child. So he's a lot of great moments of the movie where he's just trying to teach his son certain life lessons. It's really powerful, great writing, great stuff. But what the movie also gets into is kind of how the atmosphere, the culture can stifle your life literally, and just you get enveloped in it, and if you don't find a way to break out of it, it will swallow you up and it will destroy you. And the there's a lot of things going on in the movie. The movie's so multi-layered, so fascinating. I can't do enough justice without talking about it for an hour. um uh, John Singleton made the movie when he was like 23 years old, like fresh out of college. It's kind of amazing. It's one of the best first movies you'll ever see from a director ever.
Yeah.
And then Poetic Justice is different yet similar because it's focused in on relationships. Janet Jackson, Tupac Shakur, and plus their two friends, played by Regina King and another actor I can't remember. And they go on this road trip from like Los Angeles to Oakland. And it's that, and while they're on this road trip, they're dealing with all kinds of personal issues that's going on, all kinds of personal baggage and life outlooks and romantic relationships that are brewing and all this kind of conflict that's there. And in the meantime, Janet Jackson's character is also a poet, hence the title of the movie, Poetic Justice. Her name is Justice. And throughout the movie, there's this narration of poetry that she's written. And it's actually poetry that was written, I think, specifically for the movie by Maya Angelou. And Maya Angelou, who's one of the greatest poets of the 20th century and probably one of the greatest poets and writers ever. And she's actually in the movie. At one point in the movie,
Awesome.
they crash a family reunion, and Maya Angelou is one of the family members there. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's Maya Angelou. And I was like, holy crap, I forgot she's in this. But this movie's dealing with all of those things about human relationships and all that kind of stuff. And Janet Jackson and Tupac, for people who are not traditional actors, at least of that time, I think they carry the material pretty well. Upon rewatching the movie, I appreciated the movie a lot more than when I watched it a few years ago. I feel like the themes are still incredibly strong, even if the movie isn't as quite polished as Boys in the Hood. And then Baby Boy, which came out in 2001, starring once again another musical artist turned actor, Tyrese Gibson. We have Tyrese Gibson.
I'll be honest, at this point, I didn't even remember him being a musical artist.
Well, that's how I was introduced to him. Late 90s, early 2000s. Tyrese was doing music. You just known as Tyrese, one word, like Sting. And
Okay.
then he started doing acting. He was in this. He's in Too Fast, Too Furious, which would be John Singleton's next movie. And then that's how he got into the Fast and Furious franchise, where he has been ever since. That's kind of what he does.
Basically.
Basically it. Making boatloads of cash. Good for him. But in this movie, though, probably the best acting you've ever seen from Tyrese is in Baby Boy. And the movie is all about familial relationships, and also specifically the relationship between mother and son, but also relationships with other people, like other people in your life, and also being in a state of arrested development. Tyrese Gibson is at a point in his life where he does not know that he has to grow up. Essentially, he's got to mature to a new level of adulthood, or at least a level to adulthood. He's got a lot of things going on in this movie. He's got children. He's got one with two different women. So he's got two children, plus he still lives at home with his mother, plus he still has an attachment to his mother. He's basically what they call a mama's boy. And he can't break that bond. But he needs to kind of do that in order to kind of ascend to another level of maturity. Plus he's got a lot of other things that's going on. He doesn't have like a traditional job initially. He doesn't have any direction in his life.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of character stuff in this movie. But yet again, it's universal character stuff that's going on. Stuff I think many of us go through. It is from a certain lens, from the African-American cultural perspective, of course, but you can still go beyond that and get a lot of universal things from it. Ving Rhames is in the movie. Ving Rhames, whom I always love, of course, from Mission Impossible, and from Pulp Fiction as Marcellus Wallace. He's in this movie as his mother's new boyfriend. So the movie's also dealing with like masculine roles in women's lives and the roles that they fulfill. Um, and it's very interesting how that dynamic goes and that relationship goes because he's yet again he's kind of similar to the Lawrence Fishburne character in Boys in the Hood, but he's a little tougher. He's a little rougher. He's Ving Rhames. He's super jacked in this movie, so he's physically imposing.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's times in this movie where he's walking around like with not a lot of clothes on, and you can just see Ving Rhames super ripped in this movie. And I'm like, and
Cool.
that's just another thing that it's playing on this idea of imposing masculinity in the world. Then again, John Singleton was doing so much in his movies that you really it's like a sumptuous feast that you gotta go through. It's quite a watch. It was quite a watch. But to how these movies look, I guess that's the most important thing about this. Um, each movie, I believe, had 4K digital restorations. Boys in the Hood was the only one that was supervised by John Singleton before he passed, because there is a 4K release already of Boys in the Hood uh, from Sony that was put out in 2020. So it's the same restoration that was used for that, same master, same all of that stuff. I believe both Poetic Justice and Baby Boy are making their 4K premiere in this set. And also, Baby Boy has never been released on HD at all. So there's been no Blu ray release whatsoever. What is also good about this set is it ports over all of the special features that were on the Blu ray releases for Boys in the Hood, for Poetic Justice, and I'm assuming for the Baby Boy Special Edition DVD. That's my assumption. And there are some new special features in here too. There is a new conversation between filmmakers Ryan Coogler and Regina King that goes for
Awesome.
about half an hour. They talk about their relationships with John Singleton, their influence from John Singleton into their work, into their careers. Regina King obviously worked with him directly. Ryan Coogler met him when he was in college at USC. They both went. They're both alumnus from USC, and he talked about how he was really influential in helping him and being open to help him with his work and all that kind of stuff. A really great, insightful look. There's also there's a new documentary on Singleton's filmmaking process featuring publicist Cassandra Butcher, casting director Kimberly Hardin, and collaborator Paul Hall. That's also about a half an hour long, and that goes into kind of the filmmaking style of John Singleton from getting a first look perspective from people who actually worked on the movies. That's kind of nice. And then, like I said, you've got all of the other extra features that are on here. A lot of them obviously are for Boys in the Hood, because Boys in the Hood is the
Yeah.
most celebrated of Singleton's work. So you get all the making of stuff, all the audition tape, the screen tests, all that stuff that was on the old release. Is on here. Poetic Justice got a Blu-ray release. You get all of that stuff as well. There's an audio commentary on each movie by John Singleton too. It's a really nice package. It's one of those fold-out digipacks. You can see all the discs, and there's Boys in the Hood, Poetic Justice, Baby Boy, and then underneath Baby Boy is the bonus features disc that has all the bonus feature, and then on the back here you get artwork
Oh, I
for
like that.
each movie.
It's nice.
Baby Boy, Poetic Justice, Boys in the Hood. Really nice comprehensive packaging here. And then, of course, the typical Criterion style, you get the booklet here with stuff, with like essays and writings in it and pictures, production stills and things like that. Yeah, it's a really comprehensive, well put together set from Criterion. I love the fact that you get all the old special features. I love the fact that they included new special features in here. I'm pleasantly surprised by this. Like pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
Just because I wasn't expecting it. Particularly because 2 out of 3 of these movies already had Blu-ray releases already. Yeah, so that's John
Yeah, but
Singleton's
I mean,
Hood
the
trilogy.
Criterion, as we said, Ernest Lubitsch touch. Well, the Criterion touch is different than it's nice to get these all in one package and
Yes.
find a way to celebrate a seminal filmmaker
Yeah,
of
that's
of
what I
of,
really like
of
too.
Black culture, for sure.
Very much so. Really paying tribute to someone who's very, very important to, I think, film history, especially modern film history. I did also want to mention each movie. It does have Dolby Vision HDR as well, so it bumps up the colors and things like that. Yeah, there's so many special features on here. Um, but I want to highlight the new stuff as opposed to just going over the old stuff. But I want to make sure that people know that if you have previous releases, you won't be missing out if you do indeed decide to upgrade to this release. What is interesting is that Criterion's done this a couple of times recently, where they're not combining the Blu-rays and the 4Ks together into one set. They're keeping them separate, and I don't know if that's something that's going to be going forward in the future, or maybe it was unique because this is a multi-movie set and putting the Blu-rays in there too would make it too expensive to sell or too big of a set to create. You know what I mean? Because you would be adding an extra what 3 discs if you would include the Blu-rays too. Uh, but yeah, yeah, probably one of Criterion's best of the year so far. I would say.
Okay.
I know it's only April, but still.
Yeah. All right. Well, awesome, man. Yeah, I was jealous when you got that one. That's a pretty nice one. But I'm happy with my Trouble in Paradise, my Lubitsch here. This is a really great film. I think this is one that, like you said earlier, is kind of like a starter pack type of movie. Like if you're like trying to get, your first 10 Criterions, you could maybe put this in that group. Because you probably want to get some Lubitsch, you probably want to get some Kurosawa, some Bergman. So, like you want to get some of them regulars in there. But yeah, them are the 2 releases that, from this month that we got a chance to talk about. And yeah, we will be back once again next month for another one of these. Hopefully have a few releases to talk about again. If you can't get this on video here on our Chasing Labels channel, you can go to our audio platforms, whether it's Apple Podcast, Spotify, to hear this. And yes, the links to buy these are in the description. Thanks again for watching and listening, and we'll see you in the next review. Bye-bye.